Welcome to This Explainer by Forge College. Today, as part of our journey through understanding account abstraction, we're diving straight into the master blueprint of the technology. We are finally moving out of those purely theoretical clouds and figuring out the actual practical architecture. So let's see exactly how this tech is gearing up to completely rewire Web3.
Now, in our last lesson covering the benefits and challenges of account abstraction, we broke down the magical upside alongside some of the messy hurdles. But right now, we face the real boss-level question. We know what this tech is, sure, but how do we actually build it? How do we build it without the whole infrastructure collapsing like a house of cards? Because, let's be real, dreaming up a seamless user experience is easy. Actually coding it securely, that's an entirely different beast.
So here is our structural agenda for today. We're going from theory to practice, unlocking session keys, breaking down the enforcement split, standardizing the ecosystem, and finally, prepping for implementation.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, from theory to practice.
The huge takeaway here is that we have to map out the long-term evolution of smart contract accounts. We are finally moving away from the Wild West days of isolated experimental deployments where literally everyone has their own bespoke code. We're heading straight toward broad, standardized adoption, and grasping this shift, well, that is the secret sauce to building Web3 products that actually survive in the long run.
All right, moving right along to Section 2, unlocking session keys.
Think of a session key exactly like a hotel key card. It gets you into your room, maybe it lets you into the pool or the gym, but it absolutely does not give you the master deed to the entire hotel. You're basically delegating temporary authority. This way, users can click around a decentralized app without their main wallet popping up and demanding a signature every 2 seconds. It is a total game changer for the user experience.
This comparison perfectly illustrates the architectural shift we're talking about. Using your master private key for every single transaction, that's like carrying your life savings in a transparent backpack. You have total control, sure, but it is permanent and incredibly high risk. The session key, on the other hand, is scoped. It's temporary. It drastically lowers your risk profile by keeping that master key safely tucked away in the vault.
But how do we actually enforce this? Well, a session policy uses strict constraints as digital guardrails. Allowed methods limits the specific actions you can take. Expires at acts like a literal self-destruct timer. Max spend caps your financial exposure, and a nonce stops attackers from just hitting replay on a transaction. If a temporary key ever gets nabbed, these fields instantly contain the blast radius.
Which brings us to a massive architectural decision in Section 3, the enforcement split. This decision is exactly like choosing between checking IDs at the outer perimeter gate versus checking them right at the heavy vault door. Each choice flips your cost and trust assumptions totally upside down. See, on-chain enforcement at the vault, highly secure, absolutely, but it burns a lot of gas and slows down the user. Off-chain enforcement out at the perimeter, snappy, cheap, but it means you really have to trust the guards who are checking those IDs.
If you do take that off-chain route for a faster user experience, you have to be fully aware of the trade-off. You are validating policies off-chain, meaning you rely heavily on relayers and bundlers to play by the rules. You're essentially trading raw on-chain computational gas for the operational headache of off-chain monitoring.
Let's look at the big picture in Section 4, standardizing the ecosystem.
When we map out all the stakeholders here, bundlers and paymasters might sound like sketchy characters from a Charles Dickens novel, but they're actually the core economic engines making your wallet run. Bundlers care about fee capture. Paymasters worry about sponsorship costs. Wallets just want smooth compatibility. And end users? Well, they just want to not get hacked while keeping things super simple.
So how do we get all of these different characters to play nicely together? We agree on a minimal interoperability surface. Basically, canonical encodings plus standardized schemas equals significantly less ecosystem friction. By standardizing exactly how data is packaged, a paymaster can easily breed a request from literally any wallet without needing some messy custom integration. It just works.
And finally, Section 5, preparing for implementation.
These 4 steps are the exact building codes you need to ensure your Web3 architecture is actually sound. Number 1, define that interoperability surface. Number 2, specify your enforcement split. 3, align the economic incentives for your bundlers and paymasters. And 4, lock down your security and governance for future upgrades.
The absolute most critical thing to remember here is this.
Before you write a single line of code, you have to map out your architecture. You need to confidently define your canonical encodings, your validation entry points, and exactly how much gas you're willing to trade for on-chain peace of mind. You simply cannot just wing this part.
So to wrap up our master blueprint, keep these architects' takeaways in your back pocket. Enforcement splits dictate your entire trust and cost model. Standardization is a massive multiplier for industry adoption. And finally, remember that there won't be just one winner here. Modular multisigs, session keys, and recoverability, they are all going to thrive side by side.
Armed with this structural knowledge, we definitely encourage you to visit forge.college to explore more content, continue your learning journey, and dive into the deep end of actual implementation. But as we roll up these blueprints today, I want to leave you with one final thought. Will the wallets of tomorrow be so seamlessly abstracted that users won't even realize they're using a blockchain at all? And more importantly, are you ready to be the one who builds them?